Hey there everyone, CB here from CJB Studios. Happy Easter Sunday! Today I'm going to be doing another movie review on this channel, and well, this time it's going to be a little bit different, so to speak. The last two movie reviews I did on this were sort of musical themed movies. The first one being The Beatles' Yellow Submarine, and the second one being about Elvis, the 2022 biopic movie starring Austin Butler and Tom Hanks. And well, I figured for this one, since it's Easter, I thought about I was thinking of talking about a religious film. Now, I normally do not talk about religion on this channel. I've already said it a couple times before, and, well, this is my first time saying it out loud. But, again, since today's Easter, I decided to, well, maybe it's best if I do talk about one. And as to what movie it is that I'm talking about, it is going to be The Passion of the Christ. Directed, co-written, and produced by Mel Gibson, with Jim Caviezel playing the role of Jesus the Nazarene. I've heard of this movie a lot of times before. Even when I was like, a kid, like almost when I was like a teenager during that time. But I never really watched it until actually last night. In fact, I actually covered the movie in the recent episode of Have You Seen This Movie Series? It's episode 27. And I don't remember if I ever planned on including it in the series at all. But given that I finally watched it, I was like, you know what, might as well include it right now since Easter's not, like, coming up in a couple of hours, so why not just do it right away? And, well, since Easter's today, I figured why not talk about it. So, going into this movie, I knew that it was going to be graphic and very, very brutal. And, well, of course, I've read the gospel, a lot during, whenever I would go to church. But for those who don't know, the story of, Jesus' crucifixion, I'm going to talk about it here. And yes, that does include the movie, although to be fair, the gospel is, well, kind of like that too. But anyways, the movie opens up right after the Last Supper. It actually begins after the Last Supper, where Jesus is having supper with his disciples, and he's with Peter and the devil, Lucifer or Satan, comes and, sort of tempts Jesus to do something, and Jesus tells him no. And Judas, who was one of the, I think one of Jesus's, I'm trying to remember, I think he was one of Jesus's disciples or apostles, I'm not too sure. He betrays Jesus, and Jesus is then taken prisoner, and that was on Thursday, that was Holy Thursday. And then he's taken to Pontius Pilate on Friday, Good Friday, at that time. And Pontius Pilate he doesn't think Jesus did anything wrong. He sees no, guilt or anything, evil within him. But the crowd, denies this, and they tell him, kill him, crucify him. And of course, Pontius Pilate lets them, kill him. I'm just gonna say right off the bat, for someone who's read the gospel reading of it lots of times in mass, at church, I just knew that this was going to be brutal. Like, they're whipping Jesus, they're beating him, there's like blood like everywhere, and it's, oh my gosh, it's very unpleasant to look at. And as somebody who, again, believes in God, like, I knew how unsettling this was going to be. And, after Jesus is crucified, after he gets, whipped and scourged and stuff, he then has to carry a cross. And, he's, he carries it up, he drops it a couple times, and then when they finally get to the top of the hill, Jesus is then, nailed to the cross. Like, they put 2 nails in through each palm of his hands, and then his feet. And, Mary, Jesus' mother is there, and she sees what's happening. And of course, as said in the Bible, Jesus says, I thirst. And then he says, my God, why have you forsaken me? And then he says it's accomplished, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. And then, of course, Jesus dies on the cross. And then the film ends with Jesus, who is alive and well. He still has like the two holes in his hands, but he's, the wounds are gone. And then he, disappears. And then the movie is over. So that was my review on The Passion of the Christ. Again, this is my first time actually watching it. And like I said, this movie was so brutal. It was so graphic and very unsettling to look at. And I'm going to be honest, I was really, horrified with what was going on. And, well, again, for someone who's, read it so many times in church, I was prepared for what was going to happen, because, well, I know the story of Jesus' crucifixion, but actually seeing it unfold, on screen, really, it was really uncomfortable for me. And I got to admit, one thing I actually did like in this film adaptation of it was that at some points it goes to Jesus's past. At one point, he's, it cuts to the Last Supper where he gives, he gives his disciples, the bread and wine, saying, this is my body given up for you, do this in memory of me. And then he does the same thing with the blood, well, the wine being the blood. And another thing, at another point in time, it would cut to where he was just a young boy, and Mary, was, looking at him when he was a young child. And what I liked about that was that it almost made it feel like, Jesus's life was flashing, before his own eyes, because he knew what was going to happen. He knew what was coming to him, even though he did nothing wrong. But he didn't die for this, he didn't die for his sins, because he never caused any sins. He died for the sins that we've caused, because whether you believe in God or not, people do commit terrible things, no matter what their religion is. And as a Christian myself, because, it's not just in my name, it is my religion too, because yes, some people on the internet know my real name. The Lion Queen knows it, Sebastian knows it, Lisette Garcia knows it too. I'm getting off topic. Honestly, again, this movie was a really graphic and I'd say even pretty accurate depiction of Jesus, being crucified, dying for our sins, and the fact that he would be resurrected, on this day, is a really important thing, in history. Because remember, this event happened thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, like a long, 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 long time ago, before I was born. And I will admit, if there's one thing I can say about the movie, I actually did like it. I mean, it was really brutal, I will say that, but I did enjoy it too. I did think the movie was actually pretty, well, I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but I did like, the way it looked, the way it was shot and, directed, and it really felt like, it really felt like I was actually with Jesus, it felt like I was actually with him, during his, all the pain and suffering that he went through. And, well, it was very, unpleasant to look at, but that's the whole point of the film. Like, the whole point of it is, it's meant to be unpleasant. It's meant to be disturbing, because that's what Jesus went through. And he did it for us. If he didn't die, we wouldn't have had Easter. And, well, again, as a Christian myself, I'm honestly happy that I had a chance to watch this movie. I mean, again, as unpleasant and unsettling as it looked, I am thankful that I had a chance to actually watch it. And, well, and yeah, that's really all I can say. So, yeah. So once again, that was my review of The Passion of the Christ. I hope I didn't offend anybody, whether you believe in God or not. I hope I didn't offend anybody you know, who has different religions and stuff. If you would like to check out this movie, I'd say maybe give it a try. But I will warn you guys, this movie is rated R for violence and graphic imagery. And again, whether you believe in God or not, this movie is very unpleasant to look at. So if you're 18 or older, go watch it. If you're under 17, don't watch it at all. It's very unpleasant, like I said. But again, whether you believe in God or not, I do still think this movie was pretty good. So I would recommend it. Maybe giving it one try or, you know, something like that. And, well, yeah. Thank you all so much for watching this review. I know it's not perfect like any videos I make, whether I'm on camera or not, like I said, but yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say other than, well, once again, thank you guys for watching this video, and happy Easter Sunday, no matter if you celebrate it or not. Thank you all for watching, like I said. Please comment, like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, all that jazz. This is CB from CJB Studios, signing off. Happy Easter once again.